Thanks again for joining me for Katy's Corner. I am here with Rich Hammel. Rich, thanks for agreeing to talk with me.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
With that microphone, it looks like you should be hosting a talk show.
Right, a podcast.
So Rich, tell us what you do at Extreme. I know what you do. And what I want to talk about today, as you know, is your work on the CSR Council. You're leading one of our groups, one of the pillars. So first off, tell us what you do at Extreme.
Okay. So I work in supply chain. And I manage a team of program managers in both NPI and sustaining. So we work early on with engineering to make sure the product development happens smoothly. Then transition to sustaining, and then my sustaining team takes it over, make sure we're doing everything to remove cost out of the product, making sure we have continuity of supply, et cetera. So that's one part of my.
And wait, before you go on, some people may not know what NPI means. So tell us.
New product introduction. Yes.
Okay, got it.
Bringing product to market, right?
Got it.
And then I also manage a group that does doc control, so agile, making sure everything is documented correctly, making sure ECOs and deviations and everything get implemented correctly. And then I also have one person that does is dedicated towards RFQs. So when we have new products that come down that we want to build, we'll go out to our suppliers, get quotes, negotiate costs, make sure we have the lowest cost out of the gate when we bring that product to market. So
awesome.
Those are the three things.
And your group ultimately rolls up to Jack Lyon.
Jack Lyon, correct.
Got it. So about, I don't know, 9-10 months ago, when we put the CSR Council together, we got you involved. We have our 5 pillars, right? Data privacy, ethics, D&I, philanthropy, environmental, and you are running one of the pillars. So tell us about what you're doing.
That's right.
So
I'm running the environmental pillar. And so I work with quite a few people, actually, both Brian Larson in facilities. So he pretty much takes care of all the facilities stuff. Jeff Creasy in IT, and then myself from a supply chain perspective. So when you're looking at carbon footprint, which is what we focus on, is global greenhouse gas emissions. You look at how much we're using in Extreme, and that's in the facilities department. We look at, as well as IT, but a big portion of that is our supply chain partners, because since we don't manufacture our products, we have all these other companies doing it for us. So we want to make sure that all of our suppliers are also have programs in place and are doing things to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So that's where I'm involved in that supplier interface.
Yeah. So last year, before we talk about your suppliers, so last year when we published our CSR report, we put together some goals. Can you just talk about a few of them just off the top of your head? I know there's several of them, but can you just talk a little bit and why these you think are important to what we're doing?
Yeah, sure. So I don't know if you're going to be interviewing Brian also. Brian can go into detail about what he's doing. Yeah. So I'll focus on the goals that are relevant to my job.
So, for sure. Supply chain.
So number one is to make sure all of our suppliers have targets in place and are taking tangible actions towards those targets. So again, making sure that they have programs in place, they have dedicated resources, and they have money behind projects doing those types of things.
How do you make sure they're doing that?
So they have extensive CSR, they have 250, 300 page reports. So it starts off reviewing those. We have quarterly business reviews with all of our suppliers, and we added another section to our QBRs. As you can probably imagine, most of the time we're talking about the state of our business, our relationship, cost, those types of things. But now we've added another section on environmental, where we talk about, okay, so, what were your goals? How did you achieve those goals? Tell me about some of the projects you're working on. And the latest one is, they have these massive organizations that they work with a number of different suppliers. So the latest one is, how can you take your overall global house gas emissions and tie it to the products that you make for Extreme, so that then we can really look at what our footprint looks like, not only internally, but with our suppliers.
And
so
that's
a big piece.
They must be doing that, Rich, for all of their clients, right? All of their customers.
They are. We're not the first. Yeah. I mean, if you, one of the first things when we started down this path is that we started looking at our competitors and see what they did. The big ones, the ones that had money and resources to do this.
Right.
And, I believe Cisco started in 2003. It was their first report.
Wow.
So yes, certainly our other our competitors are also driving our suppliers to do similar stuff. Yeah,
that's awesome. So we also you and I have been talking, and we've been talking to some of the sales teams about product donation, right? Because you're working with the supply chain team on products that are end of life and kind of disposing of them, right?
Yes,
and I have a philosophy that our trash can be someone else's treasure, right?
Right.
So, what are your thoughts? Do you think that's a reasonable thing for us to be trying to do, is to manage our end of sale products? Is that realistic?
I mean, absolutely. It started off, I volunteer at my kid's school, and and I started looking at the Wi-Fi, and it was right after we bought AeroHive, and the guy who worked there was like going, I don't know, there's this new, I used to use Hive Manager, and now I'm using this XIQ, and I don't know how it works, and here it is, and it's pretty intuitive. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing this real time now. The fruits of everyone's labor here is really interesting to see.
Yeah.
And he works with a number of schools in I live in San Francisco, so he works with a number of schools there, and he always talks about how he doesn't have equipment and this, that, and the other. So I said, well, this would be a good opportunity. And that's kind of where it started. I was like, well, like I said, I managed product development all the way through end of life. And when we scrap product, it's just a shame that we're actually paying someone to scrap our product.
Yeah.
And I talked to him and I said, hey, could you use some of this stuff? If we could donate it, or if we could get it to you cheap, could you use it? And he said, absolutely, we could. So then I said, well, that's kind of where it all started.
Yeah.
And so now we're in our second quarter. Our first quarter was kind of trial and error, last minute type of thing, but we're much more organized this quarter. We have a timeline.
Awesome.
And we have some products that we're gonna give out to various salespeople, see if we can donate it to underprivileged schools, charities, etc. So
and I know we have some constraints in the US because of E-Trade, but overseas we have more liberties, right? So
that's right. Awesome. E-rate becomes a problem. There are a number of lawsuits associated with some of our competitors with E-rate in the United States, but certainly across the world, different schools would definitely be good candidates.
Well, that is so exciting, Brian. I mean, Brian, you work closely with Brian. Rich. So exciting, because for us to be able to take our products that we no longer need and to be able to deploy them in underprivileged communities or some organization is really massive for us. So
it is. And the good thing is it gets them on board. It gets them familiar with our products, with our XIQ. And then who knows, then they may start buying equipment from us because they're used to the interface. Right.
No, it's huge. It's huge. So anything else on your goals that you want to touch on?
So, the other thing is the use of recycled material, and so we're starting with packaging. That's an easy one, but I've been meeting with hardware engineering on a monthly basis. And we're talking about expanding that out. Packaging is the easy one. That's kind of low-hanging fruit, but we're definitely going to keep on trying to advance this and hopefully use more recycled material in our products, as well as recycling our products when they've reached their end of life at the customer site as well.
Right. So Rich, this is huge, because if we're able to do this, we're, as Ed always says, we punch above our weight when it comes to CSR and doing good. And how do you like all this work that you're doing?
Oh, I think it's fascinating. I mean, I
Yeah.
love one of the reasons I moved to California is because I love the outdoors. I go camping a lot. I spend a lot of time outside,
Yeah.
and doing things to help the environment is really something
Yeah.
that's near and dear to my heart. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And near and dear to everybody's heart. It's like we're hearing more about this from our customers, right? We're getting inquiries from all over the globe from our salespeople.
And
So,
before when I started this, I was getting questions from customers and distribution partners, and that ask us to fill out something, and we'd never get any questions back or whatever else. Now we're getting questions back. We're getting challenges. We're saying, okay, what's your goals for next year? So
right.
you can tell that there's a lot more. It's not just a checkbox item anymore. People are
Right.
really interested in this stuff.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit, let's talk a little bit about Ecobotis before I let you go, because I know that we have customers in Europe that have been asking about that. So tell us about how we're using Ecobotis and our subscription with them.
Yeah. So it
And tell
started
us
off.
what it is. Tell us what it is. Yeah.
So Ecobotis is a company based out of Europe,
Mhm.
and they're kind of a data aggregator. I think the easiest way to describe it is the process I went through. One of our distribution partners in Europe asked us to be a part of Ecobotis. So I was like, I thought it was just going to be just the normal type of questionnaire. So I go in and start filling out, and they say, show us proof that you did this. We want to see your QMS documentation. We want to see, and they actually go through the documents and look at and verify that it happened or not. And this was before this council was even started. So
Wow.
it's being renewed at the end of July. So I expect once we do this again towards the end of July, that things will be a lot more, we'll be able to answer a lot more questions, and our scores will go up. But what happens is every once in a while, so, I get a request from Ecobotis. Can you share your results with customer A or customer B? And instead of filling out all these, Excel spreadsheets or whatever else, they just go to this, they just go to Ecobotis, and Ecobotis will give them our full report
Right.
on where we, our
Yeah.
scores, how we compare to our peers, those types of things.
Right. Well, I think it's going to be huge for helping our European customers. And I know some of our European salespeople have reached out about this. So I think that's great. That's going to be really helpful. Well, Rich, I love the work you're doing. Are you kind of recruiting people to join your team with Jeff Creasy and Brian? Like, do you guys need help with anything?
Yeah, we always need help. We always need program management help, mostly of just managing Ecobotis is probably a job in and of itself.
Wow.
And so yeah, any type of program management, if people are interested in the environment and have good program management skills, please contact me, and we'll definitely find a spot for you, because we have
awesome.
more work than people right now.
Right. Awesome. Well, Rich, this is such great work. As you know, I'm a huge fan of what you're doing. I love having you on the CSR Council, and thank you for everything you're doing for Extreme and our customers, and your CSR work is it's huge. So thank you very much for that.
Absolutely.
And thanks for taking a few minutes. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.